رسول الله يا محمد حبيب الله peace of Allah and blessings.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now, we spoke yesterday and the day before about the hadith of Usama ibn Zayd, may Allah be pleased with him, and how he killed a man after saying La ilaha illallah. And yesterday we spoke about the conditions that must be fulfilled in order to nullify a person's Islam, to invalidate a person's Islam, and to say that he had committed an act of apostasy. And I promised you that we will speak a little bit about one of the most deviant and dangerous sects in Islam, and that is Al-Khawarij. And when researching the topic, I was overwhelmed by the flow and by the so many hadiths, authentic hadiths, that the Prophet ﷺ described this sect with. Now, to be objective, we have to study the text, first of all, and then analyze if it falls on what we see nowadays or not. So, without further ado, the first hadith is narrated by Jabir ibn Abdullah, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father. A man came to the Prophet ﷺ while the Prophet was distributing some of the booties of the war. And he said, this man, Muhammad, addressing the Prophet ﷺ by his bare name, without messenger of Allah, Prophet of Allah. He said, O Muhammad, be fair. Logically, this is a fair statement. But this person was addressing the Prophet of Allah, the messenger of Allah. So the Prophet ﷺ got outraged and said, woe be to you. Who will be fair if I am not fair? By Allah, I have lost and I'm doomed if I am not fair. So Umar ibn Khattab stood up and said, Prophet of Allah, let me kill this man. Let me kill this hypocrite. So the Prophet said, alayhi, I seek refuge in Allah Azza wa Jal, that people would talk and say that Muhammad is killing his companions. And this is point one, that the Prophet ﷺ was paying attention to what people may say about him and about Islam. And this is perfect Islamic PR, public relations. He is saving and protecting the image of Islam. Though the man is deserving to be killed, yet he said, no, I seek refuge in Allah. People would speak and say that Muhammad is killing his companions. This would put people away from Islam, turn them away from Islam and put them off Islam. The Prophet said afterwards, this man and his companions, meaning that he has followers, recite the Quran and it does not exceed their throats, and they exit from Islam exactly as an arrow exits a prey when it is shot with one. This hadith is agreed upon. Yusayr ibn Amr said to Sahal ibn Hanif, Sahal ibn Hunayf, may Allah be pleased with him, a great companion of the Prophet. He said, did you hear anything that the Prophet said alayhi salatu wasalam about the Khawarij? Suhail or Sahal ibn Hunayf says, I heard him say, the Prophet of Allah, and he was pointing towards Iraq. From there will come people reciting the Quran, it does not exceed their collarbones. They exit Islam, they will pass out of Islam as an arrow passes out of the prey. A clear explanation and description. Also, a similar incident to the first hadith, but this one was narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. He said that Khalid ibn al-Walid, alongside with Umar, said to the Prophet ﷺ, allow me to kill this hypocrite. The Prophet said ﷺ, from the offspring of this man will come a generation reciting the Quran does not exceed their throats. They kill the Muslims and they leave in peace the idol worshippers. They pass out of Islam as an arrow passes out of a prey. By God, if I were to see them, I would kill them and annihilate them like the people of Ad were annihilated as mentioned in the Quran. And this is also reported in Bukhari and Muslim, agreed upon. Abu Sa'id also narrates a similar version where the Prophet said alayhi salatu wasalam, that this, as Abu Sa'id says, this man is one of the hypocrites. So though he is from the Khawarij, also adding to that, he's a hypocrite. Because Allah Azza wa Jal says, and of them are some who accuse you, O Muhammad, in the matter of distribution of the alms. And this is exactly what the man did. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, may Allah be pleased with him, also mentions a hadith that was reported by Imam Ahmad in the Musnad and Abu Dawood in the Sunan and Al-Hakim in the Mustadrak and authenticated by Shaykh al-Albani. This is a beautiful hadith. The Prophet said, alayhi in my ummah, there will be a time of separation and division and difference of opinion. And there will rise a group of people that are eloquent in speech and are awful and evil in acts and deeds. They recite the Quran, but it does not pass or exceed their collarbones. They exit Islam, they pass out of Islam as an arrow passes out of a prey, and they would never go back to it, meaning to Islam, until that arrow goes back to the bow. After it's being shot, there's no possibility of it coming back. The Prophet says also, salam, they are the most evil of Allah's creation. And paradise, or tuba, paradise is for those who kill them. And paradise is for those who is killed by them. They call to the book of Allah. They claim to be calling people to the book of Allah, and they are not from Allah in any means. Whoever fights them, he is more worthy of being from Allah Azza wa Jal. So the Prophet says, what is their feature? What is their mascot? What is the thing that identifies them, the symbol? The Prophet said, alayhi salam, the shaving of the heads. So this is their sign. Now, scholars say, Al-Khawarij are any rebellious group that renegades and gives takfir to people and fights the majority of Muslims. These are the Khawarij. Whether they're calling people to their innovation and fighting them over it or not. So you can also include the Rafida in this, because they fight the people over their innovation and they give takfir also to the majority of Muslims. So nowadays, people have gone into extreme in the sense that the word Khawarij is being used as a weapon, and it's aimed at anyone who abides by the Sunnah. So if there is a faction of the Mujahideen, freedom fighters, who are fighting for the sake of the religion and against tyranny or against disbelief or against the invader kafir, disbelievers who are invading their country, usually the media call them Khawarij. And they're not Khawarij. They're simply defending themselves. Anyone would defend his country if being attacked by aliens or by strangers, let alone by disbelievers. Also, it's been used by liberals in our country, in the Muslim countries, those who have nothing to do with Islam, who are westernized. They consider anyone who follows the Sunnah as Khawarij, as fundamentalist, as terrorist. So these are canned labels, ready to be opened and distributed for free. Therefore, it's extremely important to study this group thoroughly. And this is not the right time to do it, but we're at the end of the time of the program, so we would like to utilize it as much as possible just to highlight the danger of this sect, to the extent when the Prophet said ﷺ, that 73 divisions and sects of my ummah are all in hell except one. And the Prophet did not elaborate. He did not give us a description of the 72 sects in hell, except for one sect, and that is the Khawarij. Why is that? Why is it so important to describe them in so many hadiths? Tens, literally tens of hadiths, the Prophet ﷺ described them for us. Why didn't he describe the Rafida, the Shia, the Qadianis, the Baha'is, the Duruz, the Nusayris, all these kafir groups? Why didn't he, excluding Shia? Shia are not kafir until they say the kufr thing. But in majority, as long as they would testify that Allah is one and the Prophet is his messenger, etc., then they're Muslims until proven otherwise. As we've spoken yesterday about takfir. But the others are deviant sects. Why didn't the Prophet ﷺ explain and elaborate about the description? For a very simple reason, that the Khawarij, people are fooled by them in the thousands. They see long beards, short thobes, their enthusiasm in worshiping Allah, reciting the Quran. They look like good people. They look like righteous people, but they go against the principles of Islam. So because people would fall into their trap, as we see them now, they're being recruited in the thousands from Germany, from UK, from Chechnya, from Russia. Ignorant people don't have any knowledge about the Khawarij. All what they hear is beautiful hard rock nasheed of killing, of slaughtering, of doing this, and Islam would prevail and the kufr would lose. And they see people that look pious and look God-fearing, and they hear Quran. Allah says, Allah says, Allah says. So they're fooled by them, they're lured by them, and then they're recruited to be one of them. This is why it is essential for you. You're confused, I know. You have to be confused. But how would you get out of this confusion? By detonating a bomb? By blowing yourself up in a mall? No, you have to go back to the Quran and to the Sunnah. And if Allah wants good for you, He will expand your heart and open it, so that you can see the truth with your heart. I've said some of the hadiths. I'll go on. Their description in the Sunnah. First of all, their young age. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, and the hadith is in Sahih al-Bukhari, so no doubt about it. At the end of time, there will come people who are young in age, reckless in thought. They quote from the best of the best. So they quote the Quran and the Sunnah. They exit from Islam like an arrow exits from a prey. Their iman does not exceed their throats. Wherever you find them, kill them, because those who kill them will be rewarded on the Day of Judgment. Never ever I've seen hadiths that authentic and that clear in killing this division and fighting them. It's not enough to just debate with them. You have to annihilate them. And this is not from me, it's from the Prophet ﷺ. So the first characteristic is that they're young. And look at them. They're giving handguns and rifles to children in the 13 and 14 years of age to do their executions. And they boast about it. Is this Islam? Does this have anything to do with Islam? Wallahi, it doesn't. This is barbaric. This is politician, call it whatever we want, but this has nothing to do with Islam. Second feature, that they're foolish, they're restless, and they're reckless. They don't have sound minds. And this is what they're doing at the moment. And this is exactly how the Prophet explained it. They do not go back to the elders. They do not go back to the scholars and ask them. They're impulsive. Shoot first, ask questions later. And this is un-Islamic totally. And they think that they're doing good. Third characteristic, they're arrogant and they look down at every single person. So they're arrogant. They boast of what they've done. They do evil things and they post it on their selfies or on their videos. They slaughter innocent people, they burn people, they drown people, and they claim that this is justice. This is insane. This has nothing to do with Islam. And they think that by what they're doing, their arrogance and boastfulness, that this is part of Islam. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, in an authentic hadith by Sheikh Muqbil bin Hadi al-Wadi'i, may Allah have mercy on his soul. The Prophet says, among you, there will be people who worship Allah and strive hard in worshiping Allah until people are amazed by them and until they are amazed by themselves. This is arrogance. The Prophet says, they will leave Islam as an arrow leaves a prey. So this arrogance of theirs calls them to slander scholars, to speak ill about scholars, to use vulgar language with people of knowledge, while they themselves, wallah, they are unable to clean themselves after answering the call of nature. They have no knowledge. They don't have even knowledge of the basics. Like those who killed Al-Hussein ibn Ali, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father, came to Abdullah ibn Umar from the Khawarij on Hajj, and they said, Sheikh, we have killed a mosquito. The blood of the mosquito, does it invalidate our ihram, our state of pilgrimage? And Ibn Umar looked at those around and said, look at these imbeciles. They've shed the blood of the grandson of the Prophet ﷺ, one of the great companions of the Prophet ﷺ, one of the masters of the youth in paradise. And they ask me about the blood of a mosquito. This is their arrogance accompanied by their ignorance. Characteristic number 4, they are extreme in worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal and not wanting this dunya. So they pray, they fast, they read the Quran. The Prophet clearly said this, and the hadith was reported by Imam Muslim, that your recitation of the Quran is nothing compared to their recitation of the Quran. Your prayer is nothing to their prayer. Your fasting is nothing to your fasting. To the extreme that they went really overboard. But this is not accepted by Allah, because they go against human nature, and above all, they go against the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So you know more than the Prophet ﷺ. They go to extreme, and that's why they leave the fold of Islam at some stage. It was reported that Ibn Ziyad, when he killed one of their leaders, Urwa ibn Hudayr, he asked his servant, after he killed this Khawarij leader, he said to him, come, tell me about his personal life. So the servant said, do you want me to elaborate or to be to the point? He said, no, be to the point. He said, I never brought him food during daytime, and I never laid a bed for him during nighttime. This means that this leader of the Khawarij was fasting every single day, and every single night he used to pray night prayer, the whole night, never slept. And this shows you how much they strive in worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal, which causes the majority of ignorant Muslims to be impressed, to be amazed, and to think good of them, to think well of them when they should not. Because this is a separate thing to separate from their actions and deeds of killing people, of shedding blood. Number 5, their misinterpretation of the Quran. Though they recite a lot, but without any knowledge, without any comprehension, they put the verses in other than it should be understood. They take one verse and neglect 10 others that can contradict their deviant ideology. And that is why the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, they recite the Quran thinking that it's on their side while it's against them. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, it does not exceed their throats, it does not exceed their collarbones. All of this to emphasize to us that they do not have any relationship to the Quran. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, in Sahih Imam Muslim, these things just for us to understand their innovation. And unfortunately, it's a feature of making the Khawarij in the process. When you come and say to the people, I only read the Quran and nothing else. You cannot understand the Quran without the Sunnah. You cannot fully understand the Quran without understanding the concept of authentic and correct Aqeedah, because this is what you will fall in. The same methodology of the Khawarij who depend and rely only on the Quran. One of the teachers once, a sister sent me an email a couple of days ago telling me that he is explaining Surah Al-Kafirun beautifully. So I read quickly and scanned quickly. The first thing he said that whoever makes a sin, then he is not a abd of Allah. He's not a slave of Allah Azza wa Jal. Because this is the interpretation of slavery, being owned by Allah and worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal. But then he said a very awkward thing, which shows you that when you don't have the proper Aqeedah, you bring catastrophes. So he said that, and any person who commits a sin, he has disobeyed Allah. And when you disobey Allah, then you commit shirk. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. This is the same methodology of Khawarij. When you disobey Allah, you commit shirk. Then where are the sins? Then everyone who's sinful is a mushrik. This is preposterous. But maybe it's a mistake. But such mistakes from people of knowledge means that we have to be careful to whom we listen to, because if a person is not qualified, if he doesn't have the right aqeedah, if he doesn't have the right knowledge, then he is not preaching the converts. He is teaching something that might include poison in the honey. It's sweet, but it's poisonous. So one has to be really careful. Now, the sixth characteristic mentioned about them is that they use eloquent of speech, as the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam. They use eloquent of speech, but they use evil and bad deeds. And they sometimes say the word of truth, but not intending it. And this is a lot. And when you read and listen to their rhetoric, they usually use quotes of the Quran, quotes of the Hadith, quotes of the scholars, but it goes against the principles of Islam. So what is it? Are you going against Islam because your misunderstanding of a verse? 7, they are truthful in what they say. The Khawarij do not lie. Unlike the Shia, the Rafida, the Khawarij have good intent and they are truthful in what they say, but they're deviant and we're ordered to kill them because what they do and act and result to is far greater than anyone else. So they never lie. They're always truthful, even against their leaders, even against their high-ranking people. 8, they give takfir and they believe that bloodshed is halal to spill. And this is one of the greatest features of the Khawarij. Whoever opposes them, he's against us, and hence we should kill him. And they go on a killing spree. We see this in Boko Haram, we see this in Shabab, we see this in ISIS or Daesh or whatever you want to call them. The easiest thing to recruit people, and this is their recruiting handbook 101. First of all, show the enthusiastic youngsters bombing children and women. Show them their blood and their scattered flesh here and there, and tell them, do you approve of this? Second of all, after you've charged them with anger and hatred, direct and focus this hatred to any of the directions or the targets you want. If they are fully loaded and they're willing to do this, fill their mind with nasheed of killing. It's stereotyping and brainwashing. And then fill their minds with few verses and few hadiths about Jannah, about the Hur, and the price of it is to give yourself in the cause of Allah. And some of it is, as stated, eloquent speech, and it's true, and it's being quoted from the Quran and Sunnah as the Prophet told us as time. But they are evil and bad in deeds. After that, they go on step by step to using and utilizing whatever they can. So these features and the process of da'wah, it's common, it's common sense, it's logical. I could recruit thousands of them in seconds because they're easily manipulated when they have no knowledge of the Quran and Sunnah. But if you have knowledge in the Quran and Sunnah and you fear Allah and you supplicate to Allah to show you the right way, you can tell that, no, this is bogus. This is what the Prophet warned us of, alayhi salam. Finally, the mascot or their symbol is shaving. But scholars say that they have a special symbol that varies from time to time. So at the time of the Prophet, it used to be shaving. Nowadays, it's prolonging your hair. Some of them now have this sign of Allah, Rasul, Muhammad, which they claim that it was the seal of the Prophet. By the way, this is totally bogus. You've seen this flag, the black one with the white writing on it, Allah, Rasul, Muhammad. This is totally bogus. There's nothing authentic about it in the books of history, that the name of Allah comes first and then Rasul, Messenger, and then Muhammad. The other way around is the most authentic, Muhammad, Rasulullah. But who cares? Who looks into details? Who verifies whether this is right or wrong? No. The 1 million euro question or dollar. I think dinar is even more expensive, so dinar is good, Kuwaiti dinar. The 1 million Kuwaiti dinar question. Are ISIS now considered to be part of the Khawarij? Personally, I believe they're not. Because the Khawarij are more gallant, are more brave, and are truthful. These leaders of the ISIS are not anything close to that. They are simply calling for rulership, for being kings and leaders. They're not as brave or gallant or even as truthful. On the 5th of Ramadan, Abu Muhammad al-Adnani, their official spokesman and one of their leaders, issued a statement saying that whoever fights ISIS, he has committed an act of kufr, he's a kafir, he has fallen into kufr, whether he knows it or not. So now fighting them is an act of kufr. It nullifies Islam. Although Allah Azza wa Jal tells us in the Quran, if two Muslim factions fight against each other, they are believers and you have to reconcile between them. But Abu Muhammad al-Adnani goes overboard and says, no, we are Islam. This makes it or breaks it. And this is preposterous. And it shows you that these guys are professional liars. Now, among them, there might be someone with good intent, but this is not enough. This good intent does not suffice. Muslims must fight them. Muslims must make think tanks. Muslims must collaborate money, da'wah, scholars, and activists to make websites, to invade the internet, the Facebook, the Twitter. We have to have volunteers coming and standing up in front of this devilish and evil weed before it corrupts your children, before it goes into your houses, before it corrupts your wives and let them migrate and be part of that deviant sect. It is not me. It is our Prophet ﷺ, if you believe in him, who ordered us to kill them wherever we find them. So we have to make a stand, and we will make a difference with the grace of Allah Azza wa Jal. We have a short break. Stay tuned, and inshallah, we'll be right back.
Last week I asked one question, but I did not get reply. This regarding Salatul Taraweeh. While the Taraweeh prayer is in progress, some people who come late and they make Jama'ah for Isha prayer. So doing like this is correct, or what shall they do?
Okay.
Jazakallah.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Arshi from yesterday, she says, if someone recites the Quran and at the conclusion of it, he decides to give it to a deceased person, the reward. Is this permissible? The answer is no. This is an innovation. So what about if someone dies and people visit to give their condolences, and we give them parts of the Quran so that each one of them recites a portion of it, and by the end of the gathering, this would be a full Quran, and we give it to the deceased. This is an innovation as well. Rahma from Kenya. Rahma? I think we lost Rahma. Okay, third question is about shortening the prayer and combining. If you're traveling from a city to another city, and in the process, in the way of traveling, you may shorten and you may combine. There's no problem in that. The issue is if you reach that city, if that city is your hometown, or if that city is the place where you are residing in, then you cannot shorten anymore, nor combine, because by the minute you enter, the exceptions or the permissions or the rukhas for shortening and combining is over. Asya from Saudi Arabia.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Jazakallah khair to you. Jazakallah khair to this TV channel.
Barakallah.
You know, there should be some scholars, some da'is, some good people, righteous people who will open the eyes and the heart of the people. Really, we are in the confused state. We see something else, and it is something else. Yes, I mean, you have given a very good view and open the eyes. What are the people who are doing all the wrong things? And Jazakallah khair for that. And alhamdulillah, it will surely help me and many other people also. Jazakallah.
Wa jazakum. Barakallah feek, Sister Asya. Muhammad from Nigeria.
Yeah.
Yes, Muhammad.
Yeah, I called yesterday. The question I asked before his answer today is that this Ali Sunnah Sheikh, he write a book and he preach about people that we can vote in Islam if we are living in non-Islamic country. So, and he quoted some hadith and some reference in the book where we can, express our right. But this brother quote, he gives them tafsir that if somebody is saying we should vote in a non-Islamic, then he's supposed to be killed. He's out of Islamic fold. So I want you to add it to my question that you asked me. If that is enough to give takfir, and if just people giving takfir because they talk about not using spoon,
I understand.
Never use spoon and things like
Muhammad,
that. Just want you to elaborate this.
I understand the question and I will answer it inshallah. Yusuf from Australia. Yusuf from Australia.
Yes, Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I'm asking one question. If an imam that leads you in prayer declares that he's a Shiite and a good number of you are Sunni, is it permissible for you to pray behind him?
Okay, I will answer you inshallah. Muhammad has a question about a group where he comes from in Nigeria that give takfir and they do a lot of teachings and they read from books and they go a little bit overboard. Should he report them? The answer is yes. If you are in a Muslim country and you feel that these people are going overboard, report them and the authorities will look into their teachings. Is it authentic or are they part of Boko Haram? And he gives an example. He doesn't give example of the books that they teach, but I have a sort of an idea about it, because he says that they say that anyone who votes in elections is a kafir and must be killed. Definitely these are from Khawarij. We've stated yesterday, if you remember, Akhi, and I hope that Huda puts this program of yesterday on their archive, because I gave you, in short, in summary, the conditions of giving takfir. And you cannot just simply go and give takfir to anyone, and you have to be a panel of scholars. And you cannot go and kill anyone, because this is the area of the imam. Otherwise, we don't have to have imams or Muslim rulers or anything of this sort. And voting, we know that the voting process and democracy is prohibited. It's haram. But in some incidents, your vote can make a difference in reducing the evil. So by avoiding it, this is, some of the scholars say you should avoid it, even though this is respected. But those other scholars like Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen and other scholars who agree that voting is haram, but in some cases, when my vote has a weight and a difference and can reduce the evil, then voting is halal. I'm not doing this while I am pleased with it, but I'm doing it out of necessity. We have two to vote for. One is a Muslim, one is a kafir. Then I will choose the kafir, the Muslim, that is. Though the election process is wrong, but to reduce the evil as much as possible. Muhammad from Sudan. Muhammad from Sudan. Sadiq from Saudi. Sadiq or Siddiq. Okay, we've lost both. Ramiz from Zambia says that if the imam makes a mistake in salat and I came late and he offered sujood as-sahu, if he offered sujood as-sahu before salam, this means that you have to also offer sujood as-sahu with him, because you cannot conclude your prayer until he gives salam. So if he offers two sujood of salam, you follow. But what happens if he gives salam and I stand up for my third rak'ah and then the imam says Allahu Akbar and prostrates twice for his sahu? Definitely I cannot follow him. So should I myself do sujood as-sahu after I conclude my third and fourth rak'ah and tashahhud and offer salam? We have to look. If the mistake happened in the first and second rak'ah, which you did not pray with him, then you are exempted. You don't have to make that sujood. If the sujood happened in his third and fourth rak'ah, which is your first and second rak'ah, and you were there, you were present, in this case you have to offer this sujood like he did it after the salam as well. Abdullah from Saudi Arabia.
Assalamu alaikum, ya Sheikh.
Salamullah.
My question is, I want to ask about Laylatul Qadr.
Okay.
The smart people who don't come at all when the Laylatul Qadr started, and then they will just jump in the mosque on the 27th. Only on the 27th to come and pray, and then they will just go back again to their usual business. How about what's the rule on about those people?
Okay, any more questions?
No, thank you very much.
You're welcome, أخي. Muhammad or Mamdouh from Saudi?
Hello. Salam alaikum.
Samtullah?
Sheikh, please, I want to ask, I have two questions.
Yes.
First, I decided to give a gift to somebody. So, and after talking to the person, I got to know that the person doesn't need the gift. So I changed my mind and give it to somebody who needs it. Is that okay?
Okay.
And then the second question is, anytime I'm going to masjid, if I see somebody sitting down without praying, I feel so angry. Is it okay for me? I feel so very angry that why is it that I'm going to masjid and the person is sitting down without praying?
Okay. I will answer inshallah. وجزاك أخي. Siddiq from Saudi?
Yes.
Yes, أخي.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Samtullah.
In Indian culture, hello?
Yes, أخي.
In Indian culture, it is common for women to not be in hijab in front of the husband's brothers, especially the elder one. How far is this permissible? What is the Islamic ruling over this?
Okay, I will answer inshallah.
وجزاكم.
وحياك الله أخي. بارك الله فيكم. Rashid from France. Rashid?
Hello.
Yes, أخي.
Salam alaikum.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
I have one question, please.
Yes.
I will travel today.
Inshallah.
And I can speak Arabic.
But this is an English program, أخي.
Okay. I will travel today, and I do Ramadan.
طيب, okay.
And now I can eat because the travel is 4 hours ago.
Okay.
You understand me?
So you will travel after 4 hours from now, and you want to break your fast now?
Yeah, I have the permission to break Ramadan now or not?
No, you can't, because you are still in your home. Only after you leave your home, you travel away from your city, then you can break your fast. Other than that, no, you have to complete. Maybe the airplane will not fly.
Yeah, okay.
D'accord?
Barakallahu fi.
حياك الله أخي. Muhammad from Sudan.
Hello.
أيوة محمد.
Muhammad Salahuddin Qadim. I have 4 or 5 questions.
Yeah, make it quick أخي.
Yes. Okay, regarding these 72 groups which are regarded as non-Muslims, no problem with this. Can you expand or explain more about that one division who are going on Islam line? This is one. This is one. 2. What about al-niqab? What is al-burqa? Al-burqa, is it a must or is it just custom of some countries?
A what?
Number 3.
I didn't get your second question.
Al-niqab, is it a custom or a must from our God?
Al-niqab, okay.
Yes. Number 3.
Yes.
If our close relatives, father, mother, brothers, are going ahead following Islam exactly, and if I explain them many times and did not agree what the thought of Islam regarding Quran and Sunnah, as our various Muslims following, if they do not accept this idea, can I get away from them? Hajj, can I do this?
Okay.
And what the means of Hajj
Okay.
in Islam? I can follow.
Number 4.
And thank you.
Okay.
Number 4.
Yes.
If a father has sisters, and he forbids them to take a niqab, is it to cover all their body except face and hands? Enough?
Yes. Okay. I will answer you, inshallah. Shamsuddin from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, Ya Sheikh.
Samtullah.
Now, sorry, I want to ask questions concerning Zakat al-Fitri.
Yes, Akhi.
Because over the years, I've had somebody I've always give my Zakat to, but nowadays he now traveled to Sri Lanka, and he sent me his account number to send money to him. So I want to ask, is it permissible for me to send the money to him for the Zakat al-Fitri? That's the first question.
Okay.
Then the second question is that giving of Zakat al-Fitri, is it does it go along with you in your region? Is it only people in your region where you stay you can give to? Like, say, I'm from Nigeria now, and I know that people that need the Zakat al-Fitri are more in Nigeria than in Saudi Arabia. Can I send money down home for them to purchase food for people, to give people in Nigeria, or should it be within my locality in Saudi Arabia here?
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. We have Rida from Saudi. Rida? Okay, so we need time to answer these questions. Ram is from Zambia's second question. What's the ruling on attending the wedding of a kafir? If the wedding is in a church or it's a religious festival, this is prohibited for you to attend. If it's just a reception, so it's just the food there and there's no contract and there's no priest and nothing, it seems okay if there is no mixing between the genders and there is no alcohol or prohibited food, which is usually impossible. Muhammad Ali from Saudi Arabia, he says that he asked a question earlier, and I remember this question. If a person enters a masjid and the Isha prayer is over, so the Imam is praying 2 rak'ahs of Sunnah, in a minute or two they will all pray Taraweeh. So a group of people come late and they perform Isha prayer in congregation. This is wrong and this is not acceptable because the original Imam is there and he's going to pray Taraweeh. Your prayer of Isha would contradict his being an Imam, and it would also distract Muslims. You're reciting Quran, he's reciting Quran, and everyone is trying to make it as loud as possible. This is prohibited and haram. What to do? Join them in the Taraweeh. So the first 2 rak'ahs, you join with them. When he offers salam, you complete your 3rd and 4th rak'ah individually. Yusuf from Australia, he says, what's the ruling on praying behind a Shia Imam? A Muslim Sunni must not pray behind any of those innovators. However, the ruling in Islam is whoever's his prayer is valid for himself, then it's valid for those behind him. So if this Shi'i is a Muslim and you don't know any ideas or conviction of his that nullifies Islam, so you know that he's a Shi'i, but you don't know if he curses Aisha, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman or not. You don't, some would say, oh, this is by default. No, it's not by default. Not all Shi'as are like this. The Zaydis are not like this. They don't curse. And there are people, laymen of Shia, who don't. Yes, if there is their mullah or the one with the turbans, definitely put them in the trash can because these guys are totally out of it. The Ithna Ashariya or the Imamiyya. Their scholars, their leaders, their mullahs, they are definitely out of the loop of Islam because it's part of their religion what they teach that the Quran is corrupt and the Mus'haf of Fatima is the original Quran, what you have is false. But if you don't know anything about this person except that he's a Shi'i, you can pray behind him. It's better to not do so and go to somewhere else or even pray on your own just to be safe. Abdullah from Saudi Arabia says that there are people who don't do anything during the last 10 nights of Ramadan except on the night of the 27th. So they go to the masjid and they pray and they do recitation of the Quran and then afterwards they go back to normal. Akhi, why do you limit Allah's mercy? We are instructed and recommended to offer as much as possible in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. And the majority of scholars say that the most likely night to be the night of Qadr, Laylatul Qadr, is the night of the 27th. Though this is not a general rule. It can be on the 22nd, even days, not necessarily even odd days or odd nights. So why do you limit Allah's mercy by telling them, listen, don't come to my masjid on the 27th. Either you come the full 10 nights or I don't want to see your face. Allah would not have forgiveness and mercy for you just for coming for this particular night. Astaghfirullah. Who deprives people from Allah's mercy and forgiveness? Encourage them. Maybe this year they will pray one night. Next year maybe they will make it 5 nights. Who knows? So this is not from your own pocket or for your own money. This is Allah's mercy. Don't limit it and make it as wide as possible for the people. Mamduh from Saudi Arabia says he wanted to give someone a gift, but then he changed his mind and he gave it to someone else. Is there a sin on him? No, there isn't. Because the gift is not mandatory until the other person takes it. So if I give you a pen and you take it, I cannot call it back. But if I say, listen, I'm going to give you a pen, and you say, okay, jazakallah khair, and tomorrow I said, I changed my mind. There's no problem in that. He says that whenever someone enters a masjid and sits without praying 2 rak'ahs, I feel outraged and I feel very angry. Akhi, channel your anger into wisdom, into love and care and compassion. This brother, go and talk to him and give him the hadith with a big smile. If he does not accept it, also have love and compassion in your heart, because he's following a school of thought that tells him that it is not mandatory to pray 2 rak'ahs and it is voluntary. And he doesn't want to choose the voluntary thing. So don't force people to believe and think what you believe as long as they have a legitimate reason not to do so. Siddiq from Saudi Arabia says that in India we have the concept of women not wearing the hijab in front of their brothers-in-law. This is un-Islamic. Those who do such thing are not following the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ. They're following the culture and they're worshipping their desires. The Prophet ﷺ, and the hadith is in Sahih, he said, do not enter upon women, meaning that non-mahram. Do not mix with them. So one man stood up and said, oh Prophet of Allah, what about my hamu, meaning the brother-in-law, my uncle? If he comes and visits my wife, the Prophet said it in 2 words, al-hamu al-maut. Your hamu, your brother or your uncle, who is the brother-in-law to that woman or the uncle-in-law of that woman, is death. Meaning if you allow this, then you're allowing death. It is so awkward how people who claim to be Muslim and Sunni and following the Quran and Sunnah, and yet they force their daughters-in-law to come and sit with their brothers-in-law who are not mahram, and to force them to take off their hijab, or maybe only to hide and cover their hair, but while exposing the face, the makeup and the smiles and the grudges and and the frowns, etc. Subhanallah, this is un-Islamic. You have to segregate it. You cannot be a proper Muslim when you have these mixed meetings. May Allah Azza wa Jal guide the Muslims. Rashid said about his traveling, and I told him, you cannot break your fast until you leave the borders of the city. So even if you're at the airport, you haven't traveled yet, don't break your fast, as long as the sun is still up. Once you take off and you leave, then you can break your fast if you wish. Muhammad from Sudan says that the 72 excuse me, the 72 deviant sects, are they Muslims or not Muslims? Some of them are totally not Muslims, and some of them are Muslims. So those innovators are part of the 72 sects. How would you define that? Because they're not on the footsteps of the Prophet ﷺ. Those who dance and chant, part of dhikr. Those who perform innovations such as Mawlid, or they celebrate innovated nights, they are not part of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah 100%, but they are not kafir, so they will not be in hell forever. So all deviant sects who are away from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, they're considered to be part of them. Those who fight the niqab, they're not kafir. Niqab is an issue of dispute among scholars and jurors. The most authentic opinion is it is mandatory, but those who see it otherwise, they are not kafir. They're have their choice to choose. The parents, such as the father and the husband, or the mother who do not abide by the sunnah, should I be with them? Ya akhi, give them da'wah, call them. They're not perfect. Your fingers are not alike. One is longer than the other. But you do need them all. So as long as they're Muslims and they're not abusive, just be kind to them, be tolerant, choose the right moment to give them da'wah, and impress them with your character as a Muslim, a practicing Muslim, not as a preacher or a scholar in your ivory tower dictating that this is halal, this is haram. No, people would not accept this. So try your level best to be kind to them. He says, his final question, that a father forces his daughter not to wear the niqab. The daughter, if she believes in the obligation of the niqab, she should not follow or obey her father. But if she has to be diplomatic, if he will kick her out, or if this would cause tension, so she should pretend that she is abiding by what he says, and whenever she is away from him, she should wear it. Shamsuddin says that he used to send his zakat to a person who had gone on exit visa to Sri Lanka. So can he send him money through his bank account? If he's trustworthy and you know that he's poor and he knows poor people, then this is permissible. Do I have to pay my zakat al-fitr in Saudi? I am from Nigeria, he says, and we have lots and lots of poor people in Nigeria, much more poor than here in Saudi Arabia. So can I send it? No problem, inshallah. The majority of scholars say that it's much better and it's best spent locally. But if the need is dire and strong in your country, and you are sure that they will give the grain or the dates or the rice before the Eid here in Saudi Arabia, then this is permissible, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. I think maybe today, I'm not sure, maybe tomorrow would be the last of our program of mercy for mankind of Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but I'm not sure. So if you don't see me tomorrow, then you know that I'm lazy and I've called it a day, and I pray to Allah Azza wa Jalla that we meet later on Ask Huda as usual between Maghrib and Isha every Saturday on Huda TV. So until then, I pray to Allah that He accepts your fasting, Allah Azza wa Jal accepts your night prayer, and I pray to Allah Azza wa Jal that this Ramadan is proven to be the best Ramadan ever to pass on you and me with the grace of Allah Azza wa Jal. Until then, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Beyond our Prophet Rasulullah, peace of Allah and blessings of Allah. Beyond Muhammad Habib Allah, peace of Allah and blessings of Allah. Beyond our Prophet Rasul.